Welcome to the Mid Week Tease with me, Adelle Onyango, where I share some random and not too random thoughts on things. And in this episode, let's talk about something that quite a few of us have felt or are feeling, but we never really have honest conversations around that. We're in that season where joy is expected of all of us. The decorations are out, the countdowns are on, everybody's doing their festive vibes only thing. And there's this quiet but not so quiet pressure to match that energy. But what happens when you don't really feel joyful, right? When your body's tired and your mind is just we're running on fumes. First of all, I just want you to know that you are not alone. Trust and believe. I done been there deep, I remember a couple of years ago, I had what I think was one of the most emptiest Christmases. I was navigating a very difficult period in my marriage, and I also was overworking. I had over-traveled that year. I was feeling a sense of loneliness and confusion. And the festive season came up, and I wanted deeply to feel joy because, that's what's expected, right? And I tried to put all the ingredients of what I thought would result in a joyful festive season. And I kind of pushed everybody around me to go for this family lunch. And even the restaurants I picked because it's known to host family lunches. And while, yes, there were moments of happiness for sure, but the emptiness was still there. The inability to feel joy was still there. Yet I had done all of these things that I was like, alas, it was meant to result in joy and then it didn't. So if you're feeling that, I want you to understand that there is nothing wrong with you. This happens to so many of us. We hit December carrying so much, carrying emotional depletion, burnout. Burnout, dude. You've been working the whole year. Our nervous system is finally exhaling. It does not have time for doing anything other than that. The festive season may bring grief or loneliness. There's the pressure to end the year strong. And sometimes the body is just like, whoa, I'm tired. I don't have the time for this joy thing. Please, And there are many reasons that are psychology backed that explain why the festive season comes around and you just don't have joy. And I found 4 that I want to share with you. The first one is a bit of a mouthful, but trust me, after I break it down for you, you'll be like, I think this is the one. That's the one, Adele. It's called the allostatic load effect, right? So after a prolonged stress or pushing yourself all year, your body then enters this protective state, and the nervous system then reduces emotional intensity of all emotions, even the yummy ones like joy. And it does this to conserve energy. Many of us are feeling this specific effect. It's the end of the year. It's been a hectic year. Q1, Q2, budgets were slashed. People lost their jobs overnight. And we still had to make it through the year. Yeah. The second one is emotional blunting. And this is a real psychological response, right? So when you've had to cope with a lot, your body sometimes numbs feelings to prevent overwhelm, right? It's just like, where? If you add any more feelings here, we are going to combust. We are going to burst. And so it's not you shutting down. It's literally your brain just trying to keep you safe. The comparison trigger is the third one. And this one, I don't know. I know some people even avoid social media during the festive season so that they avoid this particular one. So there's seasonal expectations, right? To be posting your travels, posting your family gatherings, posting your matching pajama set with your partner, posting, joy, vibes, traveling, partying. And social media helps prop up the seasonal expectations to do all of these things. And what happens is it creates an emotional dissonance, right? Because you expect it to feel one thing, which is the joy, which is the good vibes only, which is the family first, but you feel a completely different thing. It's a complete mismatch of emotions that you're feeling. And because you're not feeling that emotion that you're seeing online, I'm meant to be feeling this thing, but me, I'm feeling this other thing. What you start feeling because of that is internal shame, which then even that joy you were wondering why you're not feeling, it's reduced to negatives because of that. The fourth one is, let's be honest, the festive season is synonymous with the grief season for many of us. We could call it the grief season. You know, I want to say a week or so ago, some of my friends lost a very close friend of theirs, died abruptly. Someone they spent so many weekends with, chatted with all the time, probably had December plans with, to go for this concert, to go for this road trip. And one day you're chatting with them, and the next day they're gone. Like, gone. Their festive season for, I want to say, for the rest of their lives is going to have a tinge of grief. It's going to feel lonely. They're going to feel guilty even this year for feeling joy during the festive season, even in its smallest form. The festive season does come with grief, guys. You could have lost people to death, right? So for me, I always feel a tinge of grief because my mom's not there for me to celebrate Christmas with. My dad's not there either. And everybody's posting their family gatherings. So, of course, I feel grief and of course, I feel loneliness. Maybe you lost a friend like my friends, or there was a friendship breakup. That's still grief. That still brings loneliness. All of these feelings feel louder in December. And what our brains do, which is so freaking irritating, is they naturally scan for what's missing, not what's present. So those gaps, they're going to be amplified during the festive season. It comes with a lot of grief. And I just find that we almost never want to acknowledge that. So if you're feeling these heavy feelings, one thing I would tell you is that you do not owe anyone emotional performance. Society during this time is often demanding joy. It's like, be thankful, be festive, smile. It's the holidays. What are your wins this year? You know what I mean? And sometimes you're not energized enough this season for that. But you've got to understand that you don't owe anyone an emotional performance. You are allowed to sit this season out emotionally. You do not owe the world a show. So I want to give you some real tools that are grounded in psychology, about 5 of them to help you navigate this season, in case you're not feeling the feelings that, you're meant to, in quotes, be feeling. And the first one was also mentioned here a couple of podcast episodes ago by a psychologist from Shamiri Health. It's called the Name It to Tame It practice. This is backed by neuroscience. What it says is that once you label emotions, it reduces their intensity. So I want you to pause and name what you're feeling out loud or in your mind. Don't write long sentences, just one word. So you could say tired, numb, overwhelmed, overstimulated, lonely, sad, anxious. When you name what you're feeling, the brain shifts activity from the emotional center to the reasoning center. And just like that, your emotional load is reduced. The second thing you can try, which I love, 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 is a practice from positive psychology. It's called the micro joy scan. Micro, like small, right? So, what you can ask yourself is, what is one small, tiny joy that's available to you today? Not a big joy, a micro joy. It could be sunlight on your skin. It could be, oh my God, this one is mine almost every morning. The wind hitting my face on my morning walk. Ah, that stuff is like crack to me. It could be a warm drink. It could be lying under a blanket. It could be finishing a task. It could be hearing someone's laugh. It could be your favorite scent. It could be silence. It could be running yourself a bath. Micro joy builds emotional resilience, right? Without forcing you to be happy. The other thing that's really good is to reset your nervous system. And the best way to do that is through breath work. This is backed by research, right? And it's this 30-second exhale. What you're going to do is take a deep breath in through your nose and hold it for 4 seconds. So you breathe in through your nose for 4 seconds. And then you hold for 2 seconds. And then you exhale for 6 seconds. So really hold that exhale for longer. Breathe in for 4, hold for 2, exhale for 6. Now, research shows that the long exhales activate the parasympathetic nervous system. And you can do this exercise more than once, more than twice. So listen to your body like as it's softening and just keep going until you feel that your emotional overwhelm is regulated. Another that I think is quite important is from cognitive behavioral therapy. I've talked about this, I think, earlier on in the podcast when I was navigating a lot of anxiety. This one is called the CBT reframe. It's called Lower the Bar. So basically what you're doing is reducing unrealistic expectations so that you decrease emotional distress. So ask yourself, what could this season look like if I allowed myself to just be human? I love this one so much because, like, not only are you reducing unrealistic expectations, but I also like to think about it like you were taking control, right? You could design what the season looks like for you. You should, right? Whether it looks like doing less, resting more, saying no, choosing peace, not traveling, having a quiet December, whatever it looks like. Step 1, ask yourself, what could the season look like if I allowed myself to just be human? Now, the fifth and the last one is based on something all of us know from high school. We all wanted a permission slip to ditch school, ditch triple math, ditch sports day, right? But you can use the same ideology to free yourself. And I want you to write or say to yourself this one sentence: I give myself permission to feel exactly how I feel today. It's a beautiful affirmation. Let me say it again. I give myself permission to feel exactly how I feel today. And this single affirmation is going to reduce internal shame and increase emotional acceptance, which is what we want. We want you to accept the heavy emotions you're feeling and not feel like you have to perform joy. And just remember that joy returns on its own time. Even if you're not feeling it now, it doesn't mean you'll never feel it again. It's going to come back. It's going to come back when your system has enough space, when you're rested, when you're feeling safe enough to feel again. Joy will return. And so I'm going to leave you with a question that if you feel moved to, you can drop the answer in the comment section, wherever you're listening to this on. How are you really feeling as the season unfolds? Not how you're supposed to feel. How are you honestly feeling as the season unfolds? Let me know in the comment section. And if you resonated with this episode, share it with someone you love. Thanks for listening to the Mid Week Tease, a Legally Clueless Africa production. Episodes go out every Wednesday, and you can learn more about us by going to legallycluelessafrica.com.